With every buff to a gun, there's a nerf to someone's fun in the community. The Helldivers Reddit has been absolutely blowing up with posts about how the game too easy. And I thought it would be entertaining and also interesting to read and respond to some of these posts, but also to highlight that this is a minority of the community, while most people are actually just having fun. So all of these buffs to the weapons as part of the 60-day plan has made the game easier for some. They don't feel that exhilarating moment-to-moment anxiety that they used to, and that also the heavy armor penetration is too much for primary and secondary weapons like the Senator. That the game is reaching peak levels of power creep, and it isn't the game they once loved, and that the community ruined it. All right, pretty dramatic start to the video, so why don't we all just take a deep breath for a moment before beginning this conversation, and while you're taking that deep breath, just a quick reminder to drop a like on the video to help spread my content to other Helldivers. So there are some posts and comments in the Reddit and the Helldivers Discord begging developers to stop the buffing and return the game to what it used to be, basically before the 60-day plan buff patches, and we're also going to get into some of Twinbeard's responses in the main Discord of these players complaining about difficulty, because in the middle of all this game too easy drama, I do think that there are ways they can make the game harder. I just really want to point out that we should actually let Arrowhead cook now, because they've been taking the game in a great direction. You know, the game's difficulty used to be that the guns felt bad, but as most of us has pointed out, the game itself wasn't hard, it was just frustrating to not be able to use some guns that we wanted to, and basically that you could always just run away from enemies, because that was the real meta, run divers. Twinbeard's also responded that they are cooking more difficulty changes, it's just, like I said, not gonna be in nerfing the weapons anymore. Now, there are some more hyperbolic posts on Reddit cropping up. I'm not really gonna be focusing on these, because I think some of these are just people being dramatic, like this one right here. I hate this game now and the community killed it. Pause the video if you want to read this. But there's another post about waiting for new difficulty levels. And this one I think is fair. I think there is absolutely a conversation to be had about making the game more difficult, like I said, and we'll get into that one a little bit later. But one post that I really want to highlight and focus on is the Senator buff has gone too far. Hot take, they went a bit too far with the Senator buff. Now, I'm not going to read all this. I'm just going to skip to a section right here that says, I love Bile Titans. They are the biggest bug in the game and are scary and intimidating as fuck. But when a Bile Titan, a bug with literally the word Titan in the name, can be killed by a revolver, it kind of ruins the magic for me. And then I'm going to skip down to the TLDR. Bile Titan's supposed to be scary and intimidating. New revolver, make it not that. Now, the thing about this is not the only person talking about the Senator being overpowered and opening the floodgates for power creep. Because Twinbeard took to the Armory chat in the main Discord, and we all know about the Armory chat. There are plenty of memes in the community being spread about that chat room in the main Discord, and he just wanted to ask how players were feeling about the game. And there were some good responses in there, but also it eventually just evolved into people complaining about the Senator being heavy armor pen. The first person asking Twinbeard why the Senator is heavy armor pen, and when he didn't immediately respond to them, they later commented that when they asked Twinbeard why it had heavy armor pen, he fucking vanished. Pretty much implying that he was dodging the question. Other people in the Discord continued with this conversation, saying, I don't understand how people have enough reason to see why heavy armor pen Senator is bad for the game, but not enough to see how giving that same treatment to a primary weapon isn't any better. And then another comment saying heavy armor pen Senator was such a dumbass change, the floodgates are open, and Arrowhead will be too slow to stem the flow, and basically that everything is fair fucking game now, basically saying that in the next few patches, any primary now could just get heavy armor pen from the devs. Now, you guys might be asking, why am I making a video about Discord and Reddit conversations that are pretty much irrelevant? And that's because Twinbeard did catch wind of this conversation and replied saying that he didn't vanish. He had a meeting, he goes in and out of here all day long, so he never really leaves, and that he will ask about the heavy armor pen Senator. So this chat room and conversation in the Armory chat is basically getting Twinbeard to ask the devs about why a gun like the Senator gets heavy armor pen. And my response to this is that as a game dev, when you make an awesome change like the Senator getting heavy armor pen, which, let's be honest, they flat out made this change to make the game more fun and interesting, It is extremely cinematic to make a hand cannon able to blast a Hulk in the face, and it is one of the best feelings you get in this game right now. The literal reason they made this change was to make it cool, fun, and interesting. And by the way, the Senator, it's not like it's some god tier weapon. It has the worst fire rate, reload speed, mag size of any secondary. You really can't kill Hulks consistently with it from anywhere beyond medium range. It also has a bit of spread to it. I posted a video the other day showing the Senator against a ton of different enemies. Against Bile Titans, it was like 40 shots. Against Factory Striders, it was even about a bit more than that. What the Senator is mainly good for is Hulks, Rocket Striders, even Devastators to an extent. And what I'm trying to point out here is not only was this a really cool and fun change, but it also allows for loadout diversity. There are many support weapons that are straight up bad against the bots because they don't have higher armor pen, and the Senator allows you to take more varied loadouts. The Senator really is a supplemental tool in your loadouts. If it's your only armor pen in your loadout, like literally your only armor pen choice, you're not going to have an easy time dealing with all the heavy enemies that the bots throw at you. Is it possible that you can solo with the Senator? Sure, I bet it is possible, but it's not like it's making the game easy. That would be a challenge run more than anything. That sounds like something I would try out to post a video about. So in my eyes, the devs made this change for all the right reasons, only to have one of the community managers later come to them asking them why they made this change. And if I were the devs in this case, I would actually be confused. I would be wondering, why did we make such an awesome cinematic change to the game, only for the players to be complaining that it's overpowered? And I honestly just pray to God that Arrowhead has the sense to know that this feedback came from the Armory chat, who only complain about buffs to weapons nonstop. Now, another thing I did was I ran a poll in my YouTube community section asking people if they thought the Senator was overpowered, underpowered, or perfectly balanced. A majority of you guys voted it's perfectly balanced. Now, some of you out there might be saying, hey, just because everyone's saying it's balanced doesn't mean it is. Maybe people just like their overpowered gun and they don't want it nerfed. But here's the thing, that's not why I ran this poll at all. I ran this poll to prove that the majority of players are happy with this change. Only a minority of players are upset that the Senator can blast enemies like Hulks now. Changing the Senator made the game more fun for a majority of players, which is more important than anything else. Now, with that out of the way, anyone who is level-headed, who just wants more difficulty in the game, I have no problems with you. I actually agree with you. We did a whole podcast on my channel talking about what we want in terms of difficulty for Helldivers 2. And by the way, that was the entire point of the 60-day plan, was how they wanted to change difficulty. They have a note right here within the 60-day plan saying they will find a way to make combat more engaging rather than making the guns feel like trash. Heilstedt has also sent comments before the first 60-day patch went out saying that these next few patches will make the game feel easier. They will find ways to ramp up difficulty in the future. And Twinbeard also sent a response saying that they are aware that players want a stiffer challenge, and there are plans to accommodate that. Just not everything can arrive at once, so bear with us. And these were the exact changes we have been pushing for. Make the guns feel good and make the game harder in actually interesting ways, whether it's stalkers in bug breaches or even patrols for that matter. Only on high difficulty, by the way. Do not put the stuff below like level 8. More enemies spawning in general definitely needs to be done at the higher difficulties. There is a bug right now in bug missions where enemies can just stop spawning completely. Now, I have pinpointed that one of these bugs have to do with the Larvis backpack. So if you want enemies to spawn, do not go near Larvis at all during any bug missions right now, or just other cool ideas in general. I have dedicated plenty of my own content to this, but I wanted to highlight something that someone posted on the Reddit. 3 new variations to the Factory Strider I came up with, and they have this first Factory Strider with barrager missiles. I'll just say I will hate this one because ragdolling ain't fun, but I really like this second one, a Factory Strider with a stratagem jammer on top. Now, I would actually put the stratagem jammer back here and still leave that cannon turret on top. Now, the reason why I like this idea, even though some of you might be cringing, is that I do think the Factory Strider is probably their most creative enemy they've ever came up with. It has so many moving parts on it, and having to take out the cannon turret on top, having to take out the machine guns, and then killing the Strider while it's spawning Devastators at you is actually really fun. But a lot of times, Factory Strider kills devolve down to lobbing as many airstrikes as the team can at it, and then it's just dead. And then there's this final factory strider with a giant shield emplacement on top. Now, this is more so the Illuminates territory. I can't see them adding this because it would kind of break the lore. But this is an insane idea. I mean, dude, a factory strider with just like a patrol of devastators marching towards your position, bot drops being called in under a shield emplacement, and obviously you would be able to break this shield, either blasting it down, spamming airstrikes at it, maybe throwing an orbital laser. This is honestly another cool idea, although like I said, for lore reasons, I can understand why they would never add something like this specifically. I just really want to reiterate that the entire reason for the 60-day plan was to make the primary weapons feel good and also finding new ways to add difficulty. Bullet sponge mobs are not fun or engaging at all. They feel bad and they enforce a meta. If you have bullet spongy mobs, then all of a sudden it's really obvious which guns are underperforming and which guns can actually get the job done. That's what creates a meta. You can add in certain tougher enemies. They can be a good thing if they're done right. Tanky enemies should stay rare. And if they wanted to add new super tanky enemies like a super Bile Titan or a super factory strider, those kinds of enemies should be super rare or their own dedicated missions, like, you know, hopefully if we get Hive Lords soon. And like I said, we literally proved this during Escalation of Freedom when all the constant nerfing simply made the autocannon meta. Do any of you guys remember that? If you took an autocannon and a cookout against the bugs, the game was easy. The rest of the choices felt pretty punishing. Even right now, after all the buffs, it's still a minority of guns that feel extremely strong for most situations. Now, I made this real quick. This isn't supposed to be a tier list to show like what's overpowered or, you know, what are the best weapons. I made these based on what are the light penetrating weapons. Every single weapon which has light penetrating on it cannot be used against every enemy in the game just because of how the armor pen mechanics work. So every single one of these light pen weapons, which is a majority of the primary weapons, by the way, it's 15 out of 27, are not useful for every situation. And then you have medium pen weapons, which are not very good against heavies. These are really still for mobbing. And then if we take a look at this top list here, these primary weapons are good against mobs and heavies. And then these light pen weapons are also pretty decent against chargers. And if you look at these top two tiers, this is a minority of the guns. So if you want to say the game's too easy, if you want to say that just everything is viable now, I think that you're using these top two rows of guns. Maybe start bringing the Pummeler more often, start bringing the Scythe. It's really fun against bots, but you will be relying on your support weapon a lot of the time. Start using the Liberator Penetrator some more. They gave it a bigger mag size. It doesn't feel super punishing anymore. And stop complaining that the game is too easy if you're running meta loadouts. Try to have a little bit of fun and do some interesting and cool things. Run themed loadouts like running gas with fire, or maybe find some ways to have more fun with the game. I know it's a crazy way to think about gaming. I know that challenge is also fun as well. That's why I have dedicated podcasts and different feedback in my balance feedback sheets to adding more difficulty to the game in interesting ways. I just also think that a lot of people saying the game is too easy are probably running meta loadouts. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.